What's going on, guys, and welcome to my Descendant build series for the First Descendant. Today we're going over my builds for Luna.
Are you excited to be here at my show? Hope you all enjoy it and have fun.
Luna is incredibly fun to play and her kit is very engaging. She is often overlooked by people because everyone assumes that she's only a support character. This could not be further from the truth. In fact, she's an absolute beast at mobbing. She has one transmod that converts her into a full DPS, and she has ridiculously high damage output. After trying this build, you'll definitely look at her differently. She is a non-attribute descendant that uses music to damage enemies or enhance her teammates. Since there is a lot of confusion around her, let's quickly go over her abilities. Luna has what's called an inspiration gauge, which is her custom resource, as described here in her passive ability, Improvisation. It takes 10 successful notes to fill. Once full, you can activate the enhanced version of each ability, which adds additional effects. She will jump onto her floating stage disc and float around the field. Though I do wish this lasted longer. It seems weird to me that they create this unique disc and give each one a special unique dance, yet we only get to see it for like 5 seconds. It seems like a wasted opportunity. Maybe that's just me. Anyways, her first ability is called Stage Presence. This will pull out her unique weapon, the synthesizer gun, which she'll use the entire time. This ability is required to use all other abilities. Successfully hitting notes will grant her perfect pitch, which will apply either the damage pulses or the enhancements. Note, you do not need to shoot the nodes to raise your inspiration gauge. You only need to repress the ability to do so. So press 2, 2, 2, 3, 3, 3, etc. The pink one is the only one that allows you to shoot. A lot of people seem confused by this and think they have to use the actual synthesizer gun to build up your inspiration gauge. That is not true. Just simply keep pressing the ability button and it will fill itself. Luna's second ability is called Passionate Stage. This grants skill power modifier to yourself and skill power increase to your allies. Enhancing this also grants a 40% movement speed increase and a boost to both skill critical hit and skill critical damage. Her third ability is called Relaxing Act, which acts as a mana or MP regen. It grants MP recovery to both you and your allies. Enhancing this increases the regen even further and grants you a 40% movement speed bonus. Her last ability is called Delightful Stage. This one allows you to increase your inspiration gauge by shooting enemies with a unique weapon. This is the only one that actually requires you to shoot the nodes. And note, that's only in support mode. This does not apply to the DPS mode I will cover a little later in the video. Using this ability grants cooldown reduction to allies. Luna currently has 4 transmods, but I only mainly focus on 2 of them, Noise Surge and Nimble Footsteps. Noise Surge is the one that I use mainly, and that's the one that changes her into a DPS. This mod changes all of her abilities. Her 2 becomes Exciting Surge, which deals damage and increases your skill critical hit rate. When enhanced, it increases the damage and crit bonus even further, while also granting you shield recovery, MP regen, and movement speed. Her 3 becomes Relaxing Surge, which deals damage and increases your skill critical hit damage. When enhanced, it increases the damage and crit bonuses even further, while also adding shield recovery, MP regen, and movement speed. The 4th becomes Cheerful Stage, which deals damage and increases your skill power modifier. When enhanced, it increases the damage and power modifier even further, while also adding shield recovery, MP regen, and movement speed. So the goal here basically is to keep all 3 buffs up, and this will be designated by stars floating around your body in the 3 corresponding colors, orange, blue, and pink. As long as those stars are up, you are granted these bonuses. So you will have increased skill power modifier, increased skill critical hit rate, and increased skill critical hit damage. The DPS build is a lot of fun. Every time you press the ability button, a ring will pulse off of her. Everything within the ring will take damage. Once you hit 10 hits on your inspiration gauge, as I said before, you'll activate the enhanced version of whichever ability you pressed last. So you could build up, just press orange a bunch of times till the bar is full, and then tap blue, and you'll still jump on the blue version of the disc. So you do not have to stick with one color. You can mix and match, which also helps keep the buffs up. And as I said, these are indicated by the 3 colors, orange, blue, and pink. This does a good amount of damage, and her abilities have no cooldown, unless you miss a note. Try not to do that because it sucks. If you do miss a note on one of them, just rotate between the other 2 until the missed one comes back. If you do have the unfortunate circumstances of missing all 3 notes, you're kind of screwed for a few seconds until your cooldown comes back. You can either stand there and twiddle your thumbs, or you can do what I do, drop your 1 and just use your firearms until your cooldown fixes itself. The rest of the build is multi-talented, skill expansion, skill insight, maximize power, emergency measures, amplification control, maximize skill, spear and shield, skill concentration, and increased HP. And here's the arcade tuning I use for this build. Now for her support side, you have a lot more variety. There are 3 different transmods you can use: Nimble Footsteps, Aggressive Melody, and Singer's Mercy. Nimble Footsteps is the one that I choose to use. This one only changes her passive ability, which grants her increased movement speed and enhanced skill range for each buff given to your allies, up to a total of 20 stacks. The rest of her abilities remain the same as explained above: MP regen, cooldown, etc. While in support mode, you'll grant buffs to your allies, which you'll see as floating moons, the tattoo on her arm, which float around your teammates. There will be 3 different colors like before, which indicate which buff is applied. Building up the 10 stacks on your inspiration gauge allows you to enhance the ability, which grants bonus effects. Here you can see it as my wife demonstrates the effects. The rest of the build is Agony, Skill Expansion, Focus on Non-Attribute, Focus on Singular, Enlightenment, Skill Extension, Battle of Stamina, MP Accelerant, Maximize Range, and Frugal Mindset. The next build is the exact same concept, only for bossing. It also uses Nimble Footsteps, and the build for that is HP Conversion MP, Skill Expansion, Enlightenment, Increased Defense, RK Concretion, Skill Extension, Increased HP, MP Accelerant, your chosen elemental immunity like Perfect Anti-Venom in this case, and Battle of Stamina. Since all of the elemental resistance mods are the same rune symbol, the Almandine, these are easily swappable depending on which boss you are fighting at the time without having to cat a bunch of extra times. So that's nice. And here's the arcade tuning for both of those builds. Now, I want to quickly go over the other 2 transmods for those that are interested. You have Aggressive Melody, which changes her 2 and 4, converting the skill power increase from 2 into firearm attack and critical, and the cooldown of 4 into weak point damage. This mod is great if you're doing a fight with gun build Descendants. Otherwise, you should just stick with Nimble Footsteps. Singer's Mercy is exactly the same, but with one slight change. Now, instead of pulsing her buffs to your teammates, you place the rings on the ground and your teammates run through them to get the buffs, similar to Enzo's ammo box and weapon enhancer or Eugen's medical field kit. The rest of the builds are exactly the same, just swap the transmod you wish to use and you're good to go. For all of the Luna builds, you'll want to use a singular reactor. And for the external components, I use the new Enlightened Mage set. Seems to work great. This is how I have my inversion reinforcement set up. For the weapons, I have the Secret Garden, the Ancient Knight, and the Malevolent. Luna rarely uses her guns, so what you put here really doesn't matter. However, there are certain circumstances where they're needed, like firearm bubbles and whatnot. Just drop your one, shoot as needed, and then pop out your one again and continue. And here are the builds for those. Luna is most definitely one of my top Descendants, and it's sad that she gets overlooked so often. She's insanely fun and really engaging to play. My wife calls her the OCD Descendant because of how much focus it takes to play her. She is an absolute beast at mobbing and a great support character as well, for those that like to play support, that is. I can't recommend her enough. She's so damn much fun to play. Check out my other Descendant build videos and please feel free to ask any questions that you may have about this build or about Luna herself. And that's it for this video, guys. As always, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you next time. Later.